Einen wunderschönen guten Morgen und willkommen zurück zum Mass Effect. Wir haben beim letzten Mal den Captain ausgefragt, weil wir sind ja jetzt Spectre und wir wollten wissen, warum er keiner geworden ist. Und ich glaube, es gibt noch haufenweise Codex-Einträge zum Anhören. Die spiele ich jetzt einfach mal der Reihe nach von oben nach unten ab.
In the early 2160s, the Alliance began aggressive colonization of worlds in the Skyllian Verge, much to the dismay of the Batarians, who had been developing the region for several decades. In 2171, the Batarians petitioned the Council to declare the Verge a zone of Batarian interest. The Council refused, however, declaring unsettled worlds in the region open to human colonization. In protest, the Batarians closed their Citadel embassy and severed official diplomatic relations with the Council, effectively becoming a rogue state. They instigated a proxy war in the Verge by funneling money and weapons to criminal organizations, urging them to strike at human colonies. Hostilities peaked with the Skyllian Blitz of 2176, an attack on the human capital of Elysium by Batarian-funded pirates and slavers. In 2178, the Alliance retaliated with a crushing assault on the moon of Torfin, long used as a staging base by Batarian-backed criminals. In the aftermath, the Batarians retreated into their own systems and are now rarely seen in Citadel space.
Torfin ist ja, das wird ja immer wieder häufig erwähnt, wenn die Geschichte unseres Hauptcharakters, also die Hintergrundgeschichte unseres Hauptcharakters zum Gespräch kommt. Da waren wir wohl quasi beteiligt. Die Batarianer, die mögen also keine Menschen.
Pharos is a... Noveria is a cool, rocky world with most of its hydrosphere locked up in massive glaciers. A privately chartered colony world, the planet is owned by the Noveria Development Corporation Holding Company. The NDC is funded by investment capital from 24 high-technology development firms and administrated by an executive board representing their interests. The investors built remote hot labs in isolated locations across Noveria's surface. These facilities are used for research too dangerous or controversial to be performed elsewhere, as Noveria is technically not part of Citadel space and therefore exempt from Council law. By special arrangement, Citadel's special tactics and reconnaissance agents have been granted extraterritorial privileges, but it remains to be seen how committed the Executive Board is to that principle. Given its unique situation, it is understandable that Noveria is often implicated in all manner of wild conspiracy theories. There are between 2 and 400 billion stars in the galaxy, and less than 1% of them have ever been visited or had their systems properly surveyed. Humanity's early expansion into the Attican Traverse was haphazard, a desperate race to claim habitable planets where populations can be economically settled. Ignored in the wake of this land grab were thousands of less hospitable worlds, each potentially rich with industrial resources. The wealth of entire solar systems lies untapped, waiting for corporate survey teams or independent pioneers to discover and exploit them. However, this is not an easy task. In addition to the environmental hazards, the fact that uncharted worlds are largely ignored makes them popular bases for criminals, revolutionaries, cults, and others who wish to remain unnoticed by galactic society.
Noch mehr.
Combat Heart,
Nennt das
a
da.
mass accelerator, propels a solid metal slug using precisely controlled electromagnetic attraction and repulsion. The slug is designed to squash or shatter on impact, increasing the energy it transfers to the target. If this were not the case, it would simply punch a hole right through, doing minimal damage. Accelerator design was revolutionized by Element Zero. A slug lightened by a mass effect field can be accelerated to greater speeds, permitting projectile velocities that were previously unattainable. If accelerated to a high enough velocity, a simple paint chip can impact with the same destructive force as a nuclear weapon. However, mass accelerators produce recoil equal to their impact energy. This is mitigated somewhat by the mass effect fields that rounds are suspended within. But weapon recoil is still the prime limiting factor on slug velocity.
So. Ein kleiner Chip ist eine Nuklearwaffe. Okay, dann schauen wir mal. Aufgaben. Ich meine, ich wollte hier noch irgendwas tun. Zwar irgend so ein Nebenteil. Citadel, der Fan. Na gut, mit dem reden wir nochmal. Und das da. Oh, das wollte ich mal nachgucken. Da weiß ich immer noch nicht, wo ich hin muss. Die Keepers, ja. Was haben wir denn? Oh, noch 3 Stück. Ich gehe nochmal. Oder gehe ich nicht? Nee, ich glaube, wir kommen ja hier nochmal her. Wir kommen hier nochmal her. Das mache ich jetzt nicht. Nee, machen wir beim ein andermal. Dann gehen wir jetzt auf die Normandy, weil das ist unser Schiff. Unseres allein, weil der Captain ist ja zurückgetreten. Ha, meins.
Stand by, shore party. Decontamination in pro.
I heard what happened to Captain Anderson. Survives 100 battles and then gets taken down by backroom politics. Just watch your back, Commander. Things go bad on this mission, you're next on their chopping block.
Saren's out there somewhere, and we're gonna find him.
Everyone on this ship's behind you, Commander. 100%. Intercom's open. If you got anything you want to say to the crew, now's the time.
This is Commander Shepard speaking. We have our orders. Find Saren before he finds the conduit. I won't lie to you, crew. This mission isn't going to be easy. The Council wants to ignore this. That's no surprise. They never helped us in the past. No reason they'd start now. But we don't need their help. We can do this on our own. This began with an attack on a human settlement in the Traverse. But we know Saren won't stop there. His Geth armies aren't going to stay on the far fringes of Citadel space. Our enemy knows we're coming. When we go into the Traverse, Saren's followers will be waiting for us. But we'll be ready for them, too. This is the most important mission any of us have ever been on. The fate of an entire galaxy is at stake. We will stop Saren, no matter what the cost.
Well said, Commander. Captain will be proud.
The captain gave up everything so I could have this chance. We can't fail.
Yes, sir.
Ja, cool. Da konnte man mal so richtig bei so einer Rede mitmachen. Das ist ja geil. Oh, da kann man rausgucken. Können wir rausgucken. Ein Kodex. Einen sekundären Kodex. Ja, mein. So, Joker, hast du noch irgendwas zu erzählen?
Commander, something you need?
How's the Normandy performing? Is she everything they said she'd be?
She's the best ship in the fleet. If you've got a pilot who knows how to handle her. Balance isn't what you'd expect. Takes a while to get used to that oversized drive core we got stuffed in the back, and her power can sneak up on you if you're not careful. The Normandy's probably too much ship for your average Alliance pilot, Commander. Lucky for you, I'm anything but average.
Angeber. Angeber. Niemand mag Angeber.
I like to know my crew. Mind if I ask you a few questions?
I can see where this is going. You did a background check on me, didn't you? Well, I'll tell you the same thing I told the captain. You want me as your pilot. I'm not good. I'm not even great. I am the best damn helmsman in the Alliance fleet. Top of my class in flight school, I earned that. All those commendations in my file, I earned every single one. Those weren't given to me as charity for my disease.
I can't have you on this ship if you're going to infect my crew.
Infect the crew? Oh man, you have no idea what I'm talking about, do you? Okay, I've got Vrolik syndrome, brittle bone disease. The bones in my legs never develop properly. They're basically hollow, too much force and they'll shatter. Even with crutches and my leg braces, it's hard to get around. One wrong step and crack! It's very dramatic. But I've learned to manage my condition, Commander. Put the Normandy in my hands and I'll make her dance for you. Just don't ask me to get up and dance unless, you like the sound of snapping shin bones.
Ja, hat er eigentlich gerade, aber da frage ich nochmal nach.
I need to know more about this Vrolik syndrome if I'm putting my ship in your hands.
Yeah, of course you do. It's an extremely rare condition. Nobody knows exactly what causes it. Genetic, maybe. It's treatable, but there's no cure. I classify my case as moderate to severe. I was born with over a dozen fractures. Hip, thighs, ankles, my bones were already breaking.
Ouch.
100 years ago, I wouldn't have survived past my first year. Lucky for me, modern medical science has turned me into a productive member of society.
You're not gonna break a bone trying to fly the ship, are you?
I don't fly with my feet, Commander, so I'm fine as long as I'm in this chair. I gotta be real careful when I get up to take a piss, though. I can do my job as well as anyone on the ship. Better, actually. So don't worry about it.
Ja, hoffentlich stimmt es da, so
I'm
wie
not
der
trying
hier
to make
redet.
you uncomfortable. Let's talk about something else.
Whatever you want, Commander.
Kleiner Angeber. So, hier, Joker. Bist du
Why does
witzig?
everyone call you Joker?
It's a lot shorter than saying Alliance Flight Lieutenant Jeff Moreau. Plus, I love to make little children laugh.
I was just thinking how much you remind me of Santa Claus.
Look, I didn't pick the name. One of the instructors in flight school used to bug me about never smiling. She started calling me Joker, and it stuck.
Why didn't you ever smile?
Hey, I worked my ass off in flight school, Commander. The world's not gonna hand you anything if you go around grinning like an idiot. By the end of the year, I was the best pilot in the academy, even better than the instructors, and everybody knew it. They'd all got their asses kicked by the sickly kid with the creaky little legs. One guess who was smiling at graduation?
Nicht schlecht. Gibt's da noch irgendwas?
How'd you end up joining the Alliance?
Look, if you're looking for an inspirational tale of the crippled kid overcoming impossible odds, you're gonna be disappointed. My mother was a civilian contractor working for the Alliance. I basically grew up on the Arcturus station back when they were building up the fleets. Spend all that time around Alliance ships, there's a good chance you'll end up going to the Academy.
Alles klar, damit wissen wir alles über den Joker.
I have to go.
Alright, see ya.
So, mir fällt jetzt gerade nicht ein, wie das quasi deutsche Gegenstück zu der Krankheit heißt, die er da hat. Ne? Wo die, also ich meine, der hat es anscheinend nur in den Beinen, aber wo quasi die Knochen schnell brechen. Mir kommt es jetzt echt nicht gerade in den Kopf Sinn. Vielleicht fällt mir sie nochmal ein. Aber ich glaube, ihr wisst, was ich meine. So, jetzt können wir hier rumspielen. Oh, können wir mit dem Presley reden? Reden wir doch mal mit dem Presley. Hi, Elvis. Hey. Hey. Geht nicht. Ja, okay. Wir sind jetzt hier in der Situation. Das mache ich mal später. Ich gucke mich mal kurz um. So, mal gucken, wie das funktioniert hier. Kann ich auch mit den Pfeilen Maus? Nein, nur Maus. Okay. Ah, Rechtsklick geht noch weiter raus. Alles klar. Das ist die ganze Galaxie. Es schaut ja schon irgendwie abgespaced aus. Haha, witzig, ne? Geht's noch weiter raus? Oh ja. Ah, alles klar. Noveria, ja, da müssen wir hin. Liaras Dickside. Ah, die Liara, okay. Ah, und das Rote zeigt dann wahrscheinlich an, wie ich reisen würde. So über ein paar Ecken manchmal. Alles klar. Ich will aber noch mal kurz hier auf dem Schiff rumgucken. Kann ich auch einfach mit Escape? Nein. Oder doch? Komme ich hier wieder raus? Alles klar. Ja, witzig. Wow, da können wir ganz viel rumfliegen. Ja. So, ich will aber hier mit dem Elvis reden. Oder mag der nicht, dass ich ihn Elvis nenne? Ne, geht nicht. Blöd. Mal gucken, ob meine Crew da noch irgendwas zu sagen hat. Ja, da geht's runter. Wo geht's denn hier hin? Kaidan. Was macht denn der da eigentlich immer die ganze Zeit? Machst du mein Schiff kaputt? Oder schwitzt immer?
Anything you need, Commander?
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
I've wasted enough of your time for now, Commander. We'll have time for personal debriefings later.
What's your opinion on the last mission?
I don't see how we could have done things any better. At least not without getting to Eden Prime sooner. And we were on the scene faster than any other Alliance ship could have been.
We'll talk another time, Lieutenant.
Commander?
Okay, das war jetzt nicht unbedingt viel, was wir da rausgeholt haben. Oh, was haben wir hier? Ah, das sind quasi die Schlafkabinen, oder was? Na, das schaut ja bequem aus. Wie viel haben wir denn da? 2, 4, 8 Stück? Ja, wenn das alles ist. Ich glaube, da waren ein paar mehr Leute hier auf dem Schiff als nur 8. Da kann ich jetzt auch nichts tun. Oh, Medigel. Ach, gleich mal auffüllen. Sind wir schon. Doktor! Was hast denn du
Yes,
noch?
Commander? Is there something you need?
Ich glaube, das hat man
How
schon,
well
oder?
do you know the lieutenant?
I'd never worked with him before this mission. But he has an impressive service record. Over a dozen special commendations. Tends to keep to himself, though. Maybe because of the headaches. It's not easy being an L2.
Jo, das haben
I
wir
should
schon.
go.
Goodbye, Commander.
Ist hier noch irgendwas? Mensch, ich drücke mal Tab. Aber mit Tab, das bringt mir ja hier gar nichts. Na gut, dann gehen wir mal wieder Fahrstuhl fahren. Nach unten. Wir haben jetzt 2 neue Leute. Mit dem Gauss und dem Rex. Und bin mal gespannt, was die so zu erzählen haben. Reden wir erstmal mit dem Gauss. Alter
Thanks for
Turianer.
bringing me on board, Commander. I knew working with the Spectre would be better than life at CSEC.
Have you worked with a Spectre before?
Well, no, but I know what they're like. Spectres make their own rules. You're free to handle things your way. At CSEC, you're buried by rules. The damn bureaucrats are always on your back.
Being a Spectre does have its advantages.
Exactly my point. If I'm trying to take down a suspect, it shouldn't matter how I do it, as long as I do it. But CSEC wants it done their way. Protocol and procedure come first. That's why I left.
Ja, ich meine, solche Regeln gibt es ja aus einem Grund. Ansonsten sind wir bei Anarchie, ne? Aber hier in dem Spiel, oh, ist es doch mal ganz praktisch, oder?
So you just quit because you didn't like the way they do things?
There's more to it than that. It didn't start out bad, but as I rose in ranks, I got saddled with more and more red tape. CSEC's handling of Saren was typical. I just couldn't take it anymore. I hate leaving.
It's not the end of the world. You'll have tougher decisions soon enough.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. Either way, I plan to make the most of this. And without CSEC headquarters looking over my shoulder, well, maybe I can get the job done my way for a change.
As long as you do your job well, you're free to go about your business as you see fit.
Thank you, Commander.
So, der scheint wohl genauso ein Rüpel zu sein wie ich. Hihi.
Nice ship you've got, Shepard. What can I do for you?
What's your story, Rex?
There's no story.
Komm schon, du
Go ask
Kroko.
the Quarian if you want stories.
You Krogan live for centuries. Don't tell me you haven't had a few interesting adventures.
Well, there was this one time the Turians almost wiped out our entire race. That was fun.
They tried the same with us, but we fought them off.
It's not the same.
It seems pretty much the same to me.
So your people were infected with a genetic mutation? An infection that makes only a few in 1,000 children survive birth? And I suppose it's destroying your entire species?
I suppose it isn't all the same.
I don't expect you to understand, but don't compare humanity's fate with the Krogan.
I was just making conversation. I wasn't trying to upset you.
Your ignorance doesn't upset me, Shepard. As for the Krogan, I gave up on them long ago. The genophage infected us, but it's not what's killing us.
What can you tell me about the genophage?
Ask the Solarians if you want details. They made it. All I know, it makes breeding nearly impossible. Thousands die in stillbirth, and most never get that far. Every Krogan is infected. Every one. and no one's rushing to find a cure.
Why don't the Krogan try to find a cure?
When was the last time you saw a Krogan scientist? You ask a Krogan, would he rather find a cure for the genophage or fight for credits? He'll choose fighting every time. It's just who we are, Shepard. I can't change that. Nobody can.
Also alle Kroganer, die wir bisher gesehen haben, waren wirklich einfach nur Kämpfer. Und so wie die ausschauen, also rein vom Optischen, ja, ich kann mir da keinen Wissenschaftler vorstellen, der ausschaut wie so ein Reptil. Aber gut.
Are your people really dying?
We're sure not getting any stronger.
Verflixte Vorurteile, ne?
Spread out. None of us are interested in staying in our own system.
Lots of species have left their homes and prospered.
But they go to colonize new worlds. We're not settlers. We're warriors. We want to fight. So we leave. Hire ourselves out. And most of us never go back.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
Oh, da haben wir auch noch einige. Dann machen wir die doch auch noch durch.
The Citadel space is an unofficial term referring to any region of space controlled by a species that acknowledges the authority of the Citadel Council. At first glance, it appears this territory encompasses most of the galaxy. In reality, however, less than 1% of the stars have been explored. Even Mass Effect FTL drive is slow relative to the volume of the galaxy. Empty space and systems without suitable drive discharge sites are barriers to exploration. Only the mass relays allow ships to jump hundreds of light years in an instant, the key to expanding across an otherwise impassable galaxy. Whenever a new relay is activated, the destination system is rapidly developed. From that hub, FTL drive is used to expand to nearby star clusters. The result is a number of densely developed clusters, thinly spread across the vast expanse of space, connected by the mass relay network.
Also es gibt zwar haufenweise solche Massen...
The Normandy is a prototype starship developed by the Human Systems Alliance with the assistance of the Citadel Council. It is optimized for scouting and reconnaissance missions in unstable regions, using state-of-the-art stealth technology. For most ships, the heat generated through standard operations is easily detectable against the absolute zero background of space. The Normandy, however, is able to temporarily sink this heat within the hull. Combined with refrigeration of the exterior hull, the ship can travel undetected for hours or drift passively for days of covert observation. This is not without risk. The stored heat must eventually be radiated, or it will build to levels capable of cooking the crew alive. Another component of the stealth system is the Normandy's revolutionary Tantalus drive, a Mass Effect core twice the standard size. The Tantalus drive generates mass concentrations that the Normandy falls into, allowing it to move without the use of heat-emitting thrusters.
Ja, cooles Schiff. Ja, aber nochmal zu diesen Stationen da, die Lichtgeschwindigkeits-Travel-Dings da ermöglichen. Das ist halt, ja, wie man es ja eigentlich von der Erde auch kennt. Man muss halt erstmal irgendwo hinkommen, um irgend so eine Station zu bauen, um dann schnell dahin reisen zu können. Also wie Breitbandausbau oder Funklöcher im Telefonnetz. Wo nichts steht, kann nichts sein. So, jetzt reden wir mal noch mit Ashley.
Commander?
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Kinda wish you'd got there sooner, Commander. No offense, I appreciate the rescue. I just wish...
They died, you lived. That happens in this job.
Yes, Commander. Believe me, I understand that. If I had been more alert, we wouldn't have been cut down by an ambush.
We never trained to fight synthetics. The Geth haven't gone beyond the Veil in 3 centuries.
Our training's supposed to make us able to adapt. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Do you have a few minutes to talk one-on-one?
So, was hatte der jetzt davor?
Commander. I need to get my duties squared away. I wouldn't mind talking more later, though.
Dismissed, Chief.
Sir.
Okay. Na gut, dann haben wir jetzt erstmal mit allen gequatscht. Beim nächsten Mal gucke ich mir dann unsere Ausrüstung an. Schau mal, ob es irgendwas Neues gibt. Gehen wir zum Chef da drüben, ein bisschen einkaufen. Und dann denke ich, werden wir das erste Mal in irgendein anderes System reisen und dann mal gucken, was da so gibt. Also, Dankeschön fürs Zuschauen und tschüss.